Okay, thank you for sitting down with us. So let's get right into it. Can you explain a little bit about what you do and where you're from?
Okay, so what I do is I run a media business. I'm the CEO of Urban News. Basically, Urban News was started. My boyfriend and I were in college, and we really didn't have experience in media, but we
Hmm.
both wanted to, be in media. And with that said, you need to kind of have experience. Everybody's like, you need a job, you need to know how to do this, know how to do that. So we started Urban News just because it was just like a project for us. And then once we started getting booked for like personal interviews, concerts, shows, people was like, I want Urban News there. It was kind of like, hold up, is this a real business? So we decided to take it to the next level and kind of made it more so an actual corporation where we reach out to different artists reach out to us. We post daily news posts. We do affirmations every day, inspirational quotes, things of that sort on our Instagram page and our websites. So we
Gotcha.
kind of made it more so a corporation than just a project.
Okay, so where did you go to college?
I went to Virginia State University. I was studying business, and that didn't work out too well. They actually kicked me out of the business department. It was like, you're failing. You can't be here no more. If you keep going on, we'll have to kick you out of school. So I ended up going to mass communications, where I studied film, and that was pretty boring. I don't know if you guys like studied film before, but it's actually really, really boring. So then I took on radio production, and I got a chance to kind of be behind the radio, got a chance to speak a little bit more, and that's when I'm like, okay, I kind of want to be like, no, a radio personality or an on-camera personality.
Gotcha. So that's where you found your niche when you worked in.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So I know you started Urban News, and what are some of the things like that it took for you to get the business off the ground?
Honestly, get up every day. I usually watch like startup stories, and I read a lot about like a lot of startup stories, kind of. And it was like I noticed that the same pattern was they work in their craft every day and every day and every day and every day. So that's like every day I would kind of learn a little bit more about how to work a media company, like getting advertisements and constantly posting or constantly keeping people updated with news. And social media is a little bit different, so learning how to work hashtags, learning how to connect and network with different people such like yourself, just building and networking kind of was like the main platform.
Gotcha. So, in terms of the media, what are some people that you look to for motivation and inspiration that that inspire you?
Definitely Wendy Williams,
Okay.
because she's kind of like, a lot of people don't like her in industry, but she's very truthful. She's herself. She's been herself for almost, she's been on the radio and television for almost 30 years. And even though people don't like her, she's still been the same. She's able to make a career out of it. And people tune in for a reason. They want to hear what she has to say about her hot topics or her opinions or certain things like that. So to have people like her, especially a woman, who people constantly talk down on her and wish bad on her, and she's still growing in the music industry, well, in the media industry in general, I think that's a big inspiration for me.
Gotcha. And then speaking of like people that inspire you, if you had the opportunity to maybe partner up with someone other than Wendy Williams in the media business, like who would that person be?
Oh shoot! Like, does that have to be a celebrity, or
Doesn't
it
have
could
to be a
be?
celebrity, but just someone that you may be looking forward to eventually partnering up or working with on a project.
Definitely Gail King. At first, I know a lot of people would say Oprah, but I feel Gail because now she did the whole. I think that what really made me say her is because of the whole R. Kelly interviews with him and the girlfriend,
Yeah.
and the way she interviewed it was like she kind of pulled a lot of out of him without asking for too much. She stayed very calm. She made him feel very calm. Then she was kind of like, and the thing about it is, he didn't give her the answer that she wanted, but we got the reaction, and we knew what we got the reaction that we knew that R. Kelly could give. And it was like the way that she interviewed, I kind of want to learn that from her. And also, since she started her career a little bit later, I kind of want to see what she learned in the beginning till now. Like, I really would love to learn that, because I feel like now everything is so speedy. A lot of people are just trying to make it there and get there faster. And it's like, you have to kind of take your time. Some people don't blow up until 30s, 40s. I feel like this probably is one of her biggest interviews to date. And it kind of changed the game for her and for myself, looking up to people in the media industry like her.
What are some like in terms of making it a real business, in terms of in the public in publications and media? How were some ways that you started really generating some buzz and some marketing around your company?
Definitely networking. I had the opportunity to attend your event, and
Hmm.
I was able to, network and speak with different underground artists, people in the industry, and I've been doing that for about almost a year. Ever since I graduated college, I came back to New York, and I was going to events at least 3 or 4 times a week. I don't go to events as much as I used to because I have a lot of other stuff going on. But I was able to really get my name out there. Every time I meet somebody, I always get their Instagram for my personal and my business. And so that way, when they start following my business page, they always reach out to me like, "Oh my God, thanks for Urban News," because I didn't even know that this was going on. A lot of people, and it's bad because it's not bad, but it's kind of competition with a lot of bigger news companies that are doing the same thing as me. Even though we have a smaller following than them, it's like I have to always be on top of it. So I had to hire interns, then I had to turn on all my post notifications for Instagram. Then I had to be able to read the newspaper every day before I even get up. I mean, I get up like at least 3 or 4 times throughout the night at 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 1 o'clock. If I fall asleep at 12, I make sure I get up at 2, just so that I'm aware of what's going on in the media. Since everything is so much faster, you have to kind of be on top of it. Even if I'm getting less sleep, I have to make sure that I'm making headlines for people because I want my business to grow and I want people to respect me as a media source. So it's like I have to work twice as harder than these bigger companies just so they know that I'm not to be played with.
Right. No, I appreciate that honesty because it's important that you are really up to date with current events and what's going on. What are some publications that you like to study and, to keep you up to date with what's happening?
Definitely, I study all sources from fashion to entertainment. So definitely TMZ. I used to do the Shade Room, but I don't want. A lot of people try to be like. A lot of people think I get my news from them, so I try to stay away from them. But the Jasmine brand, Gossip in the City, Celebrity Tea. I also do media sources as Complex, Vice, Hype Beast. For fashion, I do Vogue, Harper Bazaar, Essence for all Black women, and there's different other smaller media networks as well that I follow. So I have all of those post notifications on, and it's like my phone is just booming 24/7.
Gotcha. So you have a lot of different resources that you
Yeah.
use. Makes sense. So this is going to be a little bit of a difficult question, but I'll give you some time to answer it. If you could just, let's say, hip hop artists, we'll narrow it down to that. If you could sit down with any hip hop artist out right now, who would it be, and why would you want to interview them?
Wow, that is a good question. I would have to say a Little Baby
Okay.
because he actually caught my attention. I would say October 2018. And since he signed to QC, it's like you hear him all day, every day. It's not a day that I don't hear his voice or his music. So I want to understand, like, how is it like an everyday life for him, and how does it feel having? I think he has 7 billion streams on Spotify. That's huge. Like it's crazy, and it's like streams are taking over. I definitely would love to sit down and talk to him. If I had to choose somebody else, I mean, you asked me for one. It'll have to also be A Boogie, because he only sold I think 825 hard copies, and then I think he did like some type of million streams. I'm not sure. So I kind of want to see how he felt for having the lowest sales of hard copies ever. So I definitely think those two are kind of identical to me. I would love to see if they could even get on a track. If I could even sit down with both of them and kind of create some type of media or a segment or interview with them, I think that would be really, really dope to kind of
Right.
see how their mind is like working 24/7.
Gotcha. I love that because it's kind of a representation of the North with A Boogie, and then
The South,
South
Lil
with-
Baby, yeah,
and-
they're definitely the youngest and killing it right now. Both
yeah,
of them.
and QC is killing it too. They're
Yeah, they just signed another new artist too. I forgot her name. She's a singer, but yeah, they just signed another one. They're gonna blow up. They had a hard story
it's
as
not
well.
Stefflon Don, is it?
No, it's something Leighton Green. She's a singer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of going back, just because we like to really have a focus on the different foundation that you had when you're starting Urban News. So you say you started it with your boyfriend, correct?
Yes.
And how was that experience? Just kind of creating a company with your significant other, because that's something important.
Definitely a lot of arguments. We argue every week about the business. So definitely a lot of arguments. And he also has his own business as well. So it's like he comes in. So basically, I do the all like the business side and like the media aspects, and he just kind of organizes it because he has his own business. So he makes sure like, okay, this post doesn't look good. Make sure the color coordination looks fine, and make sure you're giving you're also showing love to underground artists. Sometimes I get lost and I just stick to entertainment, but it's like he kind of keeps me grounded with that. So at first it was a mess. It was a little sloppy. We really didn't have a business aspect. We didn't really know, and we didn't really have a plan. We just started it. So our plan really didn't execute until 2018. And we started in July 2017. So 6 months, we didn't really have a plan till 2018 of January. So it was kind of a mess. But we're getting used to it. We have to try to stay honest. It's pretty hard because it's like, even though you are my boyfriend, you are my business partner. So it's like, I have to be brutally honest with you, just as you are with me. So it's like, it's tough. We argued bad, like it was gonna be a breakup at one point, but we always came back together, and it was like, we just gotta make sure that we can't be sensitive about it. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, I respect your honesty, and I was asking that because it is common to see that in the entertainment business, because I feel like once you have that strong foundation, it's better for the business and the relationship. So, if you're able to get through that, that's important.
Yeah.
And then another characteristic that stands out to me is, resilience. And every great entrepreneur, that's one of the most important characteristics, because if you're able to get through those difficult 6 months, then there's a good prize waiting for you,
Yeah.
So hats off for that. And going to more advice, because there's a lot of people, obviously, as I was talking, that want to start their own companies. In terms of just starting a company in general, what's some advice you would give to someone just starting out?
Definitely have a plan. I know right now just being an entrepreneur is like a fad, like it's so much fun. It's really not. It's pretty hard. It's no money. It's like, it's really, you have to kind of figure out how to bring money in your company. It's like you have to have at least 5 different hustles. At one point I had 4 jobs. I narrowed it down because I was really stressed out. But at one point I had 4 jobs, and my business was lacking because I was working so much, and it was like I needed help. So definitely kind of have a plan. You need to write down what you need to do, why you want to have this business. Is somebody else already doing it? And if they are, ask them if you can help them build. It's like, that's another reason why a lot of smaller companies aren't succeeding, because it's like everybody's doing the same thing. At one point, when it was a whole bunch of urban wear, it was because it was like 5 urban wears, and it was like everybody was working together. Now it's like, he has a t-shirt line, he has a t-shirt line, he has a hat line, so it's like, if I could get this for the same thing as this, it's like, I really don't have a loyal kind of company I could go to. So it's kind of, you got to figure out who's not doing what. And if they are doing the same thing that you want to do, work with them, see how you can help them, see how you can bring in money. You kind of have to really, your mind has to work 24/7. You have to even work with people you don't like. If you don't like working with white people, good luck, because they're all over. If you don't like working with Spanish people, good luck, because they're all over too. So it's like, you kind of have to work with everybody. I've worked with so many people. I've networked with so many people. I have so many projects in the work. And it's like, as an entrepreneur, you can't just have that one love for your business. You could, but you also have to kind of have your mind going to try to see if you can network, so that business could go into this business, if you get what I'm saying.
Definitely. I mean, you have to diversify your revenue streams. That's important.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's important also in this day and age, especially and specifically targeted at the music industry, because think about it, albums aren't selling anymore.
Yeah.
So now artists have to get their sponsorship dollars. Now artists have to focus on their concert dollars. It used to be you go on tour to promote the album. Now you put the album out to promote the tour, because that's where your money is. So that kind of template is important, especially understanding how to diversify where your money is coming from. Now, specifically to being a publicist, what is some advice that you would give, other than, obviously what is important, but some more tips in terms of, if you want to grow your a publicity business, like what are some tips for someone that's trying to start off doing that?
Definitely know who you're trying to target, like always. So if you want to have a music client, definitely study music publicity. It's all different type of publicity. It's author publicity, it's sports publicity, there's different type of sports publicity. It's baseball, it's basketball. So it's kind of like what type of publicity you want to represent for. So Before I was doing more so beauty clients and authors and actresses. So what I did was when I was working under somebody, I would always kind of study and see what can they do and what they did before them. So we had a black actress at one point. We were studying people like Taraji P. Henson. How did she became big in the public eye? And we were looking at all her articles with Essence. Then we had a black author as well. So we were looking at all the other big authors like Kevin Powell, who else? Charlemagne. We were looking at all what they were doing and see how they became big. And we went to we reached out to colleges to see if they could come and speak. And so you kind of have to really do your research. You have to read a lot. Make sure you know your clients. See if how your clients act. You kind of have to, write a bio for them and see how they are and what things bother them, what things don't bother them, because you don't want your client like R. Kelly to be out there looking a mess.
Right.
You don't want that. That's not going to look good. Nobody's going to want to work with them. And then once you're cut off in industry and you're blackballed, it's hard to get back. I love Monique, but she was blackballed last year. So it's hard for people to want to listen to her and talk to her and bring her to the show. And so that's the thing. You kind of really want to make sure that you have a good connection with these media companies. Like if I was a PR person, if I was doing PR still, I would try to have a good relationship with me if I was representing underground artists, just because I know my brand showcases underground artists. So you want to make sure you know all the media people. You kind of have to, honestly, like I said, make a list and see who you would like to study, and you go from there.
Right, and I love that, because that's an important lesson.
Yeah.
Really, if you're trying to be successful in any business, you have to be a student of the game and just study. Like anything, and you'll do well. So, in terms of like some new goals you have for the upcoming year before 2020 hits, what are some specific things you're trying to accomplish?
Definitely get my brand more out there. Definitely want to keep growing. Every day is 30 to 20 more followers. I wanted to try to get it to 1,000 more followers. The next to 10,000 more followers, 20,000, 40,000. And by the end of the year, I want to have at least 30K people following me. I know I could do it. Definitely pick up the posting.
Before we get into the other stuff, what are some strategies you're trying to implement to get more of a following for your brand?
Definitely pick up posting. When I post a lot more, I realize I get a lot of more followers. I get a lot of more likes.
So put some more content out there.
Yes,
Gotcha.
definitely hire more people who are interested in doing media as myself. Definitely social media interns. We do have a couple of interns.
How are some ways that you're getting these interns?
Through social media. So I'll put the post out, and a lot of people have been. We always get people emailing us, but we have to try to see how they will work, because social media is not easy. It's not an easy thing. We've had difficulties with people in the past, so it's kind of like we have to try to train them and try to make sure how can they fit for our brand. A lot of people, they have their own mindset of like, oh, I think this would be cool, but it's like, this is not what our brand does.
Right.
This is not what our brand do.
So for people that are, not to cut you off, but just because I don't want to forget this point. So for people that are watching this interview and they want to potentially intern for you, how should they reach out to you? And
definitely through our email. Our email's on our Instagram page. You can write us Instagram DM.
What is your Instagram?
So our Instagram is urban_2_news, URBAN 2_NEWS. And we have like our logo is the big glow with that with the African colors on it. So definitely email us and send in your resume and let us know what your role would be in Urban News, whether it's media correspondence, social media, assistant management, and also account management as well. So definitely one of those.
What is can you get more into, because I hear a lot of people in PR talking about it, what media correspondence is? Okay,
so media correspondence is someone delivering, well, it depends what type of media correspondence. So
specifically for your company, let's say.
For my company, definitely, well, ours is interviewing most of the time. So we will interview, it has to be anybody of stature, such as music artists, designers, artists, regular artists like painters, drawers, and entrepreneurs.
Gotcha.
So they will have to, usually sometimes it will be red carpet. They go on the red carpet, obviously actresses or music artists, sit down interviews like what you're doing right now. And we're not on the street yet, but if it will have to be like on the street, then yeah.
Gotcha. That's great.
Field,
And in terms of like some other goals that you had for your company this year, other than the following, because I know we dove deeper into that question. Like you can start talking about maybe some other specific goals you have for 2019.
Definitely create more segments. bring in more money. I definitely want. I don't want to get into this. I already spoke with somebody about this, but it's in the works. I kind of want to have a big. Well, I want to. Before I get into that, I kind of want to have a big network. I want to be entertainment news, such as how ABC7 is. I want to have that. I want Urban News to be on TV. If it can even be on streaming devices such as Hulu or Netflix, I want Urban News to be delivering tea from there. So I kind of want to be able to grow. I know it's going to take time, but I know I can do it.
When you're reaching out to people, let's say an artist, right, for example, what is some ways you think that are important when you're talking to someone that's new, that's a new lead that you maybe want to do an interview on or something like that?
Okay. Are you talking about if I was the publicist, if I'm just like the media correspondent?
Yeah, if you're the media correspondent.
Okay, so media correspondent, we have things called pitches. All businesses have them, such as PR. If you're a movie director, you have to create a pitch. So what we do is we have a set pitch, and we send them to either, if they don't have a PR person, we send it to their management. And we let them know what Urban News is about. We describe our interviews to them. So we'll say the first set of questions would be gearing towards their career. Then the second set of questions would be their future goals. And the last one would be their advice for upcoming artists or whoever. We give them a time set. We give them a date to be announced. We give them any type of locations. And we do have interns all over who do interviews. So we have an intern in LA where we taught her that. So she will be doing her first interview with a few film directors in LA, and she's been reaching out to them, and she has gotten some great feedback. So I feel like if you are a media correspondent and a CEO, you have to learn how to pitch. The pitch is about 5 to 6 sentences, pitching your business and why you should interview them.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's important for people to understand, because it's an exact template that you can use, to help. One helps you organize, and then two, you don't have to keep doing it over and over again.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's important. And then in terms of the different markets, because I have been to LA before, and I definitely think there's a huge contrast. Like, do you like working more in New York or out in LA? If you had the choice, which one do you think you would choose?
I think New York, because New York you can fake it a little bit more. And I'm not saying I fake a lot of things, but you could kind of exaggerate of who you are, but not too over exaggerate. So you kind of just make it a little bit more known. You could kind of share it. But LA, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's limited, but it is limited. It's a very hierarchy from the big CEOs to the little CEOs. Now, I don't want to call myself a little CEO, but I am a little CEO. So it's like, in New York, it's easier for me to network. It's easier for me to get to people close to you who has a mother that runs her own business. She probably knows somebody that knows somebody.
Right.
Where so LA, it's like it's a little bit harder. You have to get to their assistant, and the assistant has to try to make an appointment. If she doesn't feel like you're a right fit, it's kind of hard. It's a little bit harder. It takes a little bit longer. So I'm happy that I was able to kind of network in New York, because LA is pretty difficult.
Right. And I feel like in New York, yeah, things can happen a little quicker, right? Like,
yeah, definitely. It's a little bit easier. It's not so much. They don't really. New York, of course, nowadays people care about who you are and how many followers you have, but it doesn't matter. A lot of people are a little bit more humble. Where so LA, they like that is a real true saying. People are very Hollywood. Luckily, I have family in LA who are known, so it's a little bit easier for me to move around, and they know people who know people. But it's going to be a difficult task. I have to prove to them. I have to show them that I am who I am. So I definitely think I'm happy that I'm from New York and I could be here and network.
For sure. And we wish you the best of luck. And
thank you.
Before we wrap things up, next 5 to 10 years, where are we going to see K-Dot?
You guys better see me on TV, whether it's directing a movie, writing a script, having Urban News on any streaming device. I would say TV, but I'm definitely thinking streaming is taking over. If it's Hulu or Netflix, you'll definitely see Urban News on there in 10 years. I give it 5.
For sure. And on the cover of Forbes.
I hope so. I hope so.
Well, I appreciate you sitting down with us. I really think this was a great interview.
I think this program is pretty dope. I love what you're doing with underground artists like SOBs. Every week, every time I reach out to you, you're always available, to take a few days or a few weeks, like you're in reach. So I appreciate you, and always stay true to yourself, like stay humble.
No problem.